Hello and welcome to our International Student Webinar exclusively for all commencing Semester 2 undergraduate students in 2020. My name is John Dixon, Regional Manager at the University of Melbourne. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for attending this webinar and most importantly congratulate you on accepting your offer and joining the University of Melbourne. This webinar is exclusively for you wherever you may be around the world. We welcome you to the University of Melbourne. You are now part of a distinguished and thriving learning community. We acknowledge that the University of Melbourne's Parkville campus is on the lands of the Wurundjeri people, who have been custodians of this land for over 40,000 years. The university has other campuses and sites around Victoria too, so today we acknowledge and pay our respects to Wurundjeri elders past and present, and those traditional owners of our other campuses, and to those whose land it is wherever you are joining us from today. This was an acknowledgement of country, and you will see these frequently while studying at the University of Melbourne. The development of respectful relationships between the University of Melbourne and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and communities is an important step towards reconciliation. Respect can be manifested either by any of us making an acknowledgement of country or experiencing a ceremonial welcome to country performed by elders and traditional owners of the land we are on. You will have a chance to experience an Aboriginal ceremony welcome once we are able to resume in-person events on campus. Okay, so today's session is designed to help you explore the opportunities you will have as a University of Melbourne student and make the transition to university as easy and enjoyable as possible. In the topics we will cover today, you will learn what you need to do before classes start. You will learn what support you can access throughout the semester, get some insider information about how to succeed at uni. You will start thinking and asking questions about how to make your degree and experience a unique and extraordinary one. You will also hear from our two very special guests, our current students, Rianne and Ryan, who will provide insider tips and advice on life as a University of Melbourne student. So again, please ask questions through the Q&A as we go through the session today in the live chat, and all questions are welcome. Now, before we do get started, I would like to know a little bit more about all of you that has joined us today. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll. So hopefully you'll see on your screen, we have just a couple of questions. First of all, where are you? Where are you currently in the world? We also have question 2, how are you feeling about starting university? Hopefully you're very excited and happy and optimistic, but some of you might be very nervous and some of you might be unsure. And finally, have you chosen your major yet? Have you definitely thought what you're going to do? Are you still deciding between a few options, or you have no idea? So let's have a look at those results. So we have a great mix of students from all over the world. We have quite a couple of you from Africa, quite a number of you in Australia and New Zealand. We have quite a number of you from China as well. Some from Hong Kong, Japan, Macau, the Philippines, or South Korea, or Taiwan. Some in India or Nepal. And we also have some students in Indonesia, some Singapore, Malaysia, and a couple of you in Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, or Sri Lanka. So, importantly, how you feel about starting university? Fantastic to see that most of you are excited. I know that I was definitely excited when I was starting my undergraduate degree. And so we see a really good mix there of happy, optimistic, bit of nerves, and unsure. And finally, have you chosen your major yet? Well, that's quite surprising that quite a lot of you have looked it in. If you are still undecided or you have no idea, that's okay. That's what we're going to go through today, find out a little bit more about that information, and even hear from a couple of students about that. So at the University of Melbourne, we're very proud of our outstanding reputation for excellence. For over 160 years, we've made distinctive contributions to society and attracted the best and brightest students and researchers, bringing together the world's best minds to solve globally significant problems. We are very excited that you will be joining the next cohort. Now, 2020 has obviously been a very challenging year. and we are currently in unprecedented times. We may be physically separated, however, our community is more connected than ever. The University of Melbourne continues to work very closely with the Victorian Department of Health and Human Services, the Australian Government, the Victorian Government, and health experts. The university's #1 priority is the health, safety, and well-being of our university community. Now, unfortunately, metropolitan Melbourne have now returned to stage 3 stay-at-home restrictions. We are reviewing our current activity on campus and our return to campus plans to ensure that we continue to operate in line with all the latest government advice. Currently, our student services, including our library services, are being delivered virtually. So the university has transitioned to a virtual campus model, which maximises opportunities for students to study effectively whilst maintaining the quality and standards of our degrees and sense of community. Classes are being delivered remotely and staff are working from home where possible. Our virtual campus website that you can see on our screen, this will help you navigate ways to stay positive, ways to stay connected with each other, tips on working remotely, and even ways to nourish your mind. Here you can connect with your campus community and find your people here at Melbourne. We have some great tips for studying online, including getting connected with a VPN, watching lectures, attending tutorials and workshops online, and even advice on setting up your work desk, your chair, your computer to have the correct posture. So the next slide is information about our International Student Checklist website. Now, this website has everything you need to know about starting your studies online before transitioning your move into Melbourne. And at this point, I will just add that all of this information you will be getting afterwards, so please don't worry too much about writing down all of the links. They will be provided to you after this. So you will need to complete your administrative enrolment to confirm that you will begin your studies in the upcoming semester. You will need to supply your contact and personal details as part of your administrative enrolment. Now, you have all started this already by accepting your offer. Now it's time to move forward with the remainder of your checklist. Whilst you are studying online, you will not need a student visa. We will communicate with you clearly once borders are open and when we can invite you onto campus once it's safe to do so. Your student account gives you access to your student portal, my.unimelb. This is where you can enrol in your subjects, view your timetable, get some fee information and invoices. You'll be able to access your student email and access student subject information via the LMS. Follow the instructions on Get Started to set up your account. You'll also receive a link in your offer letter. You will be issued a username and you'll be required to create a password. So please make sure you keep a record of these. Now, Stop One can connect you with the full range of student services to support your success whilst you're studying at the university. We offer a full range of workshops, programs, and expert advice to help you with your administrative, enrolment, success, and well-being needs. You can talk to us on the phone, by live chat, by email, and book your appointment using the Stop One website. Before you enroll in your subjects, you will need to consider how to plan your course and subjects in order to meet the requirements of your course. Some courses are structured and others are very flexible with lots of decisions you'll need to make. You will need to plan for all of your subjects for 2020, 50 points of study in each semester or half year. You should also consider your intended course plans for later years. There are a number of resources available to assist you to plan your course. We have the handbook, which we will go through to today. There is the course planning website, the URL you can see on screen, and also your faculty website. You can access advice about planning your course if required. Please book a course advice appointment via the Stop One website, and one of our course advisors will help you with subject selection. You will need to enrol in your Semester 2 2020 subjects in your study plan, accessed via My UniMelb, once you are admitted. You can only enrol in 2020 subjects. A standard enrolment is 50 points per semester, which is generally 4 subjects at 12.5 points each. Students self-manage their own enrolments online. If you are having difficulty adding a subject, you can complete an enrolment variation form. You can also change your subjects online. Refer to the handbook for key dates for subject changes, last dates to self-enroll, last date to withdraw without incurring any fees, the census date, and the last date to withdraw, where fee liability applies. Once you have enrolled, you will be able to access your class information via the LMS and view your fee statement. Before you enroll in subjects, you will need to plan your course. This involves planning your first year subjects for 2020 and also having an idea about what you might like to study in your second and your third years. Each student must follow the same course rules. However, each student's course plan will be different according to their individual goals, interests, and circumstances. So there are different ways to approach planning your course. You could go for a goal-orientated plan. This is where you know what you want the end result to be. For example, a specific major or a graduate program, and then you would work backwards from that goal. This means adding the third year major subjects to your plan, then adding their prerequisites at second and then first year, and then adding electives and breadth. This is a great approach, but it is important to keep an open mind, as you may find you discover new disciplines and ideas as you progress through the course. Another approach is the exploratory approach. Now, this is good when you may be unsure of your end goal, for example, your major, your graduate study, or even your career. You can use your first year to explore these options, test out different areas of study, and build forward, following your interests and developing your plan as you go along. This is also a great approach, but you will still need to consider your course rules, including requirements for your major. However, for some majors, students usually need to decide from day one in order to complete all the required subjects for the major. There is also the option of doing a little bit of both, and many students will do a bit of both, as you may have a few majors you're considering and map out a 3-year course plan to see how many options you can keep open at first year, and then start to focus as you progress through the subjects. We recommend that you review your plan at the end of each semester to ensure that you are still on track with your goals and you're also meeting your course rules and requirements. The course map is a great tool to use to do this, and also remember to please ask the team at Stop 1. Now, breadth subjects are a distinctive feature at the University of Melbourne's undergraduate degree study, from where you can study disciplines outside of your degree. You can take these breadth subjects to enhance and complement your major, but you can also take advantage of specially designed multidisciplinary subjects. You can also take breadth subjects to meet prerequisites for graduate courses. If you want to focus your breadth subjects in a particular area, there are also breadth tracks. These are a set of 3 or more subjects that progressively develops knowledge and skills relevant to some domain, theme, topic, or issue. Please have a look at the link on the screen for more details on breadth. Now, if you need further course planning or enrolment assistance, the Planning Your Course and Subjects website, as you'll see at the bottom of the screen, has great resources to help you, including more information about what we're covering in today's presentation. You can also access dedicated assistance from our course advisors online or on the phone. Our course advisors can help you with a range of options. These include planning your course, your major or specialisation, understanding course rules and structures, subject selection, concurrent diploma planning, course planning around study abroad and exchange, checking that you're on the right track to graduate, advice on changing course direction, and of course using the study plan. Now, the most important resource that you will need to plan your course is the University Handbook, which is the official source of information about all courses and subjects. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the Handbook's landing page at handbook.unimelb.edu.au. And on the right is the FAQs of Ask Unimelb. Now, before attempting to enrol in any subject, always check its handbook entry for any reference to enrolment conditions. Now, these conditions might include any prerequisites, some special application or selection processes, or maybe a quota and the subject size restrictions. Enrolling via the study plan. Once you have planned your subjects, you will need to enrol in them via the study plan on my.unimelb. This is your study plan for the entire degree, but you only have to worry about the subjects that you're going to be studying this semester. You cannot exceed 50 credits per semester. So for example, you can enroll in 4 subjects worth 12.5 points, or 2 subjects worth 12.5, and 1 subject worth 25 points. Again, we recommend you to visit the link on the screen, and there's a fantastic video about how to use the study plan in more detail. This enrolment timeline will assist you to understand key dates for your study, as well as the study periods in which different subjects are taught. Study periods are assigned to subjects to indicate their availability and key dates. You can find out which study periods your subjects are available in via the handbook. The standard study periods are semester 1 and semester 2, which have set teaching, assessment and census dates. Non-standard study periods include summer and winter terms, and they have their own individual dates. At the start of each semester, you will have the opportunity to change your subjects. There are 3 key dates for changing your subjects: last day to self-enroll, the census date, and the last date to withdraw. The last day to self-enroll is usually 2 weeks into class, and you can swap yourself in and out of subjects with no penalty. After this date, you will need subject coordinator permission to enrol into a subject because you may have missed too much content. The census date for a standard semester is about 4 weeks into class. This is the final date to withdraw from subjects without having to pay for them. Whatever you are enrolled in on this date, you will need to pay the fees for. Finally, the last date to withdraw is the final date to withdraw from your subjects. This is usually several weeks into teaching. You will still be liable for the fee, and the subjects will appear on your transcript with a withdrawn comment. But this is an option for students who feel that they might fail this subject. On the right of the screen, you will see the key dates for semester 2, 2020. We have our orientation coming up on the 27th of July through to the 31st of July. We have our teaching dates starting on Monday, the 3rd of August, the mid-semester break in October, and the examination period in November. In addition to standard and non-standard study periods, the university uses half-year periods to determine certain aspects of enrolment and administration, such as your study load. A standard full-time study load is 50 points per half-year period. As mentioned earlier, a standard subject is worth 12.5 points, which works out to 4 subjects per half-year period. My timetable uses a preference-based process involving 3 steps: plan, preference, review and adjust. Use the planner to see class times for subjects you're enrolled in, as well as those that you're interested in enrolling in. You can plan multiple subjects at once and see if they fit together and fit with your own personal schedule. While you can plan your ideal timetable at any time, you need to enroll in your subjects before you can continue to the next step. Now you'll see the date of the preference is coming up. It's actually tomorrow, Thursday the 16th of July. So you will need to enter your preferences by then. Then on the Thursday the 23rd of July, you'll be able to review your timetable and adjust any timetable you have based on your final schedule. Okay, the Learning Management System, the LMS. Now this will become very familiar to you. For most of your subjects, you will be able to access reading materials, recorded lectures, assessment activities, grades, and subject updates via the LMS. We call this Canvas. Once you have enrolled into subjects, you should have access within 1 business day. Explore the resources, check your book lists, and importantly, keep an eye out for updates from lecturers about classes. If you have questions about content, assignments, or assessments in your LMS, contact your subject coordinator. Subjects for semester 2 are automatically made available 10 days before the start of the semester. Teaching staff may choose to make their subject available before or after this date. So we obviously want you to make your degree extraordinary. So apart from your classes, what else do you want from your degree? What else are you interested in? What skills would you like to learn or develop? What hobbies do you have? Being a University of Melbourne student is much more than attending classes. We encourage you to explore opportunities to get involved in new university community, to make friends and to develop your skills. You might like to do a range of activities outside your class, such as participate in your faculty enrichment opportunities, attend workshops, industry events, public lectures, festivals, and a whole range more. Now there's a lot on this screen, but one bubble I want to particularly point out and highlight is our peer mentor program. As a commencing undergraduate student, you will be matched with a later year student, peer mentor, and a group of first year peers from your course. Together, this group will provide you with an instant network to touch base with you as you embark on your studies. Your peer mentor will also be able to provide you with personalised advice about study and engagement opportunities at the University of Melbourne. So I've just demonstrated some examples of co-curriculum. Here is how you can find out this information and keep your finger on the pulse. You need to have a proactive attitude to sourcing information. The one takeaway from this slide is to set time aside for these important activities. Check the my.unilife app. It will assist with your first year, especially the checklists are very satisfying. Emails. Now the uni says at least twice a week, but I would recommend daily. It may seem overwhelming at first. You will get a lot of information from faculty, from tutors, from Stop 1 services and more. But make folders, organise it. Speak to academic staff. Speak to them about your assignments, the course content. Some have had industry and field experience, and who knows, maybe they could eventually be your supervisor for your PhD. Sign up to faculty newsletters, Twitter feeds, go on Facebook groups. Don't miss out on an opportunity just because you weren't informed. You don't have to do everything, but being aware is important. Go to websites. End every search with UniMelb. Go to workshops at Stop 1. Stop 1 has a huge range of workshops for skills development. For example, writing skills, resume writing, enhancing your first year experience. From orientation all the way through to week 12, There are a huge amount of workshops for all of these things. Use the ask.unimelb site. Speak to your peers, especially your peer mentors, and ask questions all the time. There's no such thing as a stupid question. It's important now that you're starting your university journey to network. Network, 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 even from day one. And obviously with a virtual campus, you can do this online. Now, orientation is the best way to get to know your virtual campus, your new community, and to get ready to start classes. Orientation will run from Monday the 27th through to Friday the 31st of July. Some key activities, which include faculty welcome and information events, an introduction to student clubs and societies, and information sessions on fees, housing, skill development, getting involved, and so much more. You can create your orientation itinerary online. You will be able to access the Student Life app to create your own individual orientation itinerary. You will have a commencement ceremony and a peer mentor appointment during your orientation. Now onto the University of Melbourne Student Union. UMSU. So the University of Melbourne Student Union is the peak representative body for all international students at the University of Melbourne. And it's also a great place to get free stuff. The University of Melbourne Student Union are committed to providing quality experiences on campus that create a community for students from a wide variety of backgrounds and experiences. There are over 200 clubs that you can join, from sports to languages, games and fun. An upcoming major event is Winterfest Online. This is run by students for students. Aligning with our orientation between the 27th and the 31st of July, you can check the website to register for sessions that might interest you. Again, this is a great way to engage and to make friends. So what is next? Well, obviously you've accepted your offer letter and now you're well on your way to induction to the University of Melbourne. So looking at the next steps, you will need to download the My Uni Live app on your smartphone. Attend your course welcome, where you will get details emailed to you. You'll need to complete the International Student Checklist, attend the Melbourne orientation between the 27th and the 31st of July, and then you'll have your first day of class coming up on Monday, the 3rd of August. We can't wait for you to join us. Okay, so that is the conclusion of the formal presentation. And now for the exciting part, I'm now going to introduce our student panelists and open the floor to some Q&A. So first of all, we have Rian, a current Bachelor of Biomedicine student from Bangladesh. Hello, Rian.
Hi, John.
And we also have Ryan Tan, a Bachelor of Science student from Malaysia. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, John.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. So I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay. First of all, I'll start with you, Rian. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and how did you come to choose the University of Melbourne?
Right. I'm from Bangladesh. I completed my high school degree from there. And during my applications, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry. So during my applications, I was actually more focused into applying to the States. Australia was more of perceived as a very residential, livable place. But coming abroad to study is not just about the academics. There's definitely a lot of personal growth involved as well. And Melbourne as a city is extremely diverse and lively. So, and it's also very famous for coffee. I'm a coffee fan. So I found the city to be very suitable for a place where I can come and explore myself, given that I'm leaving my family behind. So I chose Melbourne. And University of Melbourne is obviously a very prestigious university of Australia, so I don't think I really need to say much about the academics. It's definitely, it speaks for itself. It's definitely really well connected, resourceful, has an amazing faculty and people around. So that's how I chose it.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you're certainly enjoying your time so far. Excellent. And to you, Ryan, I might ask the same question. A little bit about where you're from and what made you choose Melbourne.
So I'm from Penang of Malaysia, where Penang it's not exactly city-like, but I wouldn't call it rural any stretch of the mean. It has a lot of cultural heritage and influences, quite similar to Melbourne. It's like quite a hodgepodge of different cultures. Like there's like 3 major ethnic groups there that we all just mix and mingle together. It's quite similar to here. And I chose UniMel because initially I actually wasn't too certain on like what to major. And just UniMel has, it's quite flexible, as in you don't need to necessarily have your sort of major decided immediately. In fact, for science, it's actually still quite flexible to mingle around. Hey, like, do I want to do maybe computer science or maybe some engineering or physics or math? It's still very flexible, and that's really quite what I enjoy about it, and have utilized that aspect to my advantage, I think.
Fantastic. Well, on that, does that mean that you haven't quite chosen your major yet?
No, I could say for me, I've actually decided on something that's, well, for me, I'm actually quite interested in, say, physics and math and a bit of programming. But after like some careful considerations and speaking with some lecturers, asking about their experiences, I sort of think, hey, maybe, I don't really want something that's completely theoretical. I want something that I can apply and also learn the theory. So I chose to maybe to do electrical systems, which has quite a mixture of physics and quite a lot of math.
That sounds great. And what about looking at breadth subjects? Did you look at choosing breadth subjects that might accompany that major or that degree, or did you want to do something completely different to what your major was?
Do you want to answer that, Rian?
Yeah, sure. So for breadth subjects, I made full utilization of what that actually means. I never took a subject that was related to my degree. It was always, for example, I took law. This semester I'm taking a music subject. I even did politics. So yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity for having an insight into different other faculties. And I think it's a great way to increase my interpersonal skills as well, because like the subject requirements and the assessments, they're very different for each faculty. So yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, this is also one of the reasons why I chose my degree, because of this breadth subject opportunity.
Fantastic. And how about you, Ryan, with your breadth subjects?
For me, I've actually just I also take breadths outside of my subject. I've taken like finance because personally I've almost never taken any commerce subjects, and I just wanted to try something new. And basically that's so I took finance, and I might even plan to take like something different, like learning a new language with Japanese, or maybe doing some music as well, which I never actually got a formal education in music. It's just sort of self-learning, yeah.
Fantastic. Have you joined any clubs or societies that might help you with that, music or Japanese?
Yeah, there's a lot of clubs that deal with music in the University of Melbourne. There's like the jazz club. There's traditional Chinese music ensemble, I think, and there's like classical music stuff. It's just quite a bit, but I personally just joined the jazz music club, because it's quite a chill one, where they will usually like meet up and they would just play impromptu, like without rehearsing or anything. It's very cool to just see them get together and play quite synchronously, despite not having any practice together.
Fantastic. How about yourself, Ryan? Have you joined any clubs, societies? What sort of extracurricular activities have you been doing in Melbourne?
Yeah, so in my first year, I was part of the Biomedicine Student Society, as well as it's a club called the Folding Our Futures. It's basically like we used to go to schools and sort of increase the awareness of the environment, speak to young children about those. Then I've also been a part of the Melbourne Peer Mentor program that you just spoke about a while back.
Right.
Yeah, I'm actually one of the mentors there. It just launched this year. And the Student Ambassador program. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's really good. And I did talk about earlier about sort of planning your course and looking at the different options. Now, would you say that when you chose your subjects and your options, were you more goal orientated or were you more exploratory? And what made you choose either of those?
Right. I think I am more exploratory because I'm in the middle of my second year and I haven't still selected my major. So my degree gives me that flexibility. So it's like my degree is designed in a manner like in the second year, the core subjects are sort of designed to give an insight into all the different majors that will be available for me in the third year. So it's not like when I opened the handbook and there were all these fancy words staring at me and I didn't know what to study because I didn't know what career I want to pursue. So yeah, now definitely I've narrowed down my options. Yeah.
Were you anxious or worried at the start of your degree not knowing what your major would be? And if so, how did you overcome that? Did you speak to, like you say, peer mentors? You are now a peer mentor yourself, or did you speak to academic staff? How did you overcome this?
Oh, it was really overwhelming at the start, but when I came in during the orientation events as well, I think there were I went to several different events that were held where student panelists themselves discussed about how flexible the degree is itself, and that none of them had their major selected or did they know where they would land up in. So that sort of gave me a confidence. And there are always so many other support services where you can reach out to, like Stop One and AMSU, of course. So yeah.
Fantastic. All right, thank you. So we are getting some live questions coming through now. And again, to the audience, please keep on sending your questions through. And just following on from that, how many extracurricular activities would you recommend international students take in order to keep that good balance between university and social life?
That's a good question. I think 2 or 3 should be enough. Given like what sort of activities you have to do, the club expects you to do. Like for Biomedicine Student Society, I was in my first year at that time, so I was more on the receiving end where the seniors actually helped me transition into my degree. So there was not much of activity involved there, so I could easily just do 2 or 3 stuffs and still balance it with my study load. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Fantastic. How about yourself, Ryan? Have you any insights on what you would recommend?
I sort of think like it's good to always just keep looking. Like initially in my first year, I actually didn't join too many clubs, but like starting on the second semester, I thought, I need to make a change. I need to do more. So I actually made an took it my own initiative and just had to go out looking for more opportunities. And now it's like, I mean, I do have quite a few extracurricular activities that I do. I used to do the Red Cross volunteering, where I actually get to learn some customer service skills, working with different people, while also being able to help with different cause. It's all very nice. But still, I think it really trains your time management skills. So I feel different people will certainly have different sort of thresholds of how many clubs and extracurricular activities they should really take, and it's certainly up to them. But yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 should be fine.
All right, fantastic. And I've just got quite a course-specific question for you, Ryan. So a question that's coming from one of our upcoming students. This student is thinking about doing either mechanical or mechatronics major. Do you have any tips or advice on this?
The mechanical and mechatronics major is actually super, like at least for the first 2 years, it's actually very similar to the electrical one, in that the subjects that you take are basically the year 1 maths. Year 1 maths, and then there's one special engineering subject called ESD2. And then second year, it's a lot of overlap in that if you're doing engineering, you can take engineering maths. And then depending on which stream you want to sort of focus on, or in fact, if you want to keep your options open, you can just take all of them. Like you can take your engineering math, and then engineering computing. There was another one, engineering materials. If you're going civil, even it's quite similar, and it's just that amount of flexibility is really nice for you if you're really not certain and still need some more time to sort of maybe ask your lecturer or some seniors in a club even.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. And a question for you, Rian, is when you arrived at the university, now obviously it was a little bit different because you were arriving on campus, but what advice would you give to international students that are starting at the University of Melbourne in their first semester?
Well, I'll just say that it can be very overwhelming at the start because it's very different from high school. But my advice will just be to stay patient, be adaptive. Like you've managed this far because you deserved every bit of it. So just go with it. That's what I can say. Yeah, it gets better. It gets better. It gets easier. Just be adaptive. Yeah, try to make a lot of friends. They'll obviously make it a much more livable. Yeah. So.
Any tips or advice on how to make new friends in a new city and new surroundings?
Like for university environment, the orientation was a big help. There were always the different activities during the orientation, such as the orientation challenges, the numerous club openings. Even AMSU, they're very welcoming. Like if you email them to join, now that it's online, if you email them to join the clubs, they certainly take you in part of the different group chats, and you can just always privately message them. I personally made a lot of online friends. Like I've never seen them, but it's possible. So yeah.
Great. And was it similar for you, Ryan, transitioning to Melbourne, meeting new people, making friends?
Yeah, well, as I said from initially, I said I was actually fairly secluded for, let's say, the first semester. It's only the second semester I really went out to push and do new things, be more open-minded. And it just also so happens where semester 2, I finally found my clique and like a bunch of people that I sort of hang out with and sort of do similar subjects together. And it's really just, you need to push yourself to do something different, go out there, and now that you're online, there's like, there's still quite a few things to do. There's the peer mentorship thing, which is going to run soon. Yeah, the peer mentorship where you're a group with 10 other students, which are also new, and you will also be sort of assigned a mentor that will look after you. Or, well, it's more to say that you can ask them particular questions and they might direct you to certain help facilities or something. And other than that, there's still a lot of there's still clubs, and usually clubs are gonna run online events. Like at the start of semester 1, there was the Mug Fest, a gaming festival run by the Electrical Engineering Committee, and I've heard, don't quote me on that, but they're gonna run it again for winter or something similar. And yeah, it's just looking for more events to sort of join around. Yeah.
Fantastic. And obviously, speaking of online and transitioning to online study, tell us about your experience of studying remotely in this last semester. and obviously moving on to semester 2. Rianne, I'll start with you. How have you found the transition to studying online?
Well, for me, the first 2 weeks of the semester was face-to-face, but then suddenly everything shifted online. So it was a rough start for everyone at the start, but I have to say the faculty worked really, really hard to give the contents as effectively as possible. Like the good side, there are some pros to it. I'm sure everyone's aware of the cons. So for my subjects, the lecturers delivered the contents via Zoom. And even after like 50 minutes of lecture, which is normally the normal time for my lectures, they waited for 10 to 20 minutes just to answer all of our questions, which normally doesn't happen face-to-face. The tutorials were extremely interactive even via Zoom. And throughout the semester, we could always reach out to university support services such as Top One and UMSU. Then there were even webinars and workshops held by the academic skills team and the careers and employability team. So they were all operating online, and you can reach out to them for any questions. So even the university sent emails after, like, they checked up on us, like if we were doing okay. So yeah, we were always a part of the university community. Never felt otherwise.
Fantastic, that's great to hear. And Ryan, how about from a science perspective? Was your faculty as good as Rianne's?
I would think like there's obviously certain things that can't be done. So like practicals are obviously going to be restricted. You can't go to labs, but they are trying to make up for it by, at least for the electrical, they're going to be sending the physical some small kits. I'm not sure. Some small kits and signal generators if you take the electrical subjects. So that's quite nice that they try to make up for that. And for some maybe like advice on how to try to study in this situation is like, for me, I sort of have a goal in mind. I know I keep that goal in mind and know that I need to work hard to reach that goal, and it keeps me motivated and productive even if I'm slacking off and I'm thinking, oh no, I need to be working hard for that goal. And it just keeps me focused at times.
Fantastic. And look, we're all in this together, and we're all working very hard to get through this. And I think we've all transitioned very well. So that's good to hear. A specific question about your course, Rianne, and this student's asking, I've heard that maths is very challenging in biomedicine. Is this true?
That's a very subjective opinion.
Sure.
Personally, I did not struggle with math. It's a good thing. But I certainly did have friends who did. So, do not start the course with that opinion that it's challenging. It's obviously relevant to, you can't expect the normal math, algebra or calculus that we did in high school, but it's more relevant to the theories that we are studying in biomed, so that which can be explained through mathematics. So it's a bit different, but it's manageable. Don't worry about it. That's about all I can say.
All right, fantastic. And a question for both of you: have you thought about looking at your career, so updating your resume, updating your LinkedIn, that kind of thing? What kind of support have you got from the university in terms of job prospects, updating your resume? Any tips that you could give for our future students?
Ryan, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure, I can start. Well, there's a lot of like the workshops on Careers Online that basically just tell you, how should you write your resume, sort of giving you a tutorial or rundown of LinkedIn. Helen Allison, the one that I went to that ran the sort of LinkedIn workshop. She also consistently sort of pushes students to constantly update their LinkedIn, and there's a lot of resources available, as well as like I think there is also a sort of AI or some kind of machine learning thing that they have on Employ Me, that sort of you send in your resume and then it'll spit out some marks and areas where you can improve on your resume and stuff like that. Is is how you can improve your maybe career readiness.
Yeah, fantastic. And just to follow that, I'd also recommend online networking events as well. They really, really help. How are you finding your academic staff, your teachers? Are they very approachable? And how's the best way to approach them if you've got specific questions you may need to ask?
Yeah, definitely. They're very approachable, both the lecturers and tutors. Best way to approach them is directly through email. They always encourage that. And even like I said, if the lectures are conducted via Zoom, even at the end of the lectures, you can always ask questions and they're there to answer them. So yeah, that has never been an issue.
Yeah, I've personally also found lecturers to be super approachable. They've been very friendly. If it's like if you show you're interested and you want to speak and communicate with them and talk about that subject that they also love, of course they're going to be approachable and talk to you the same. In fact, it was true talking to one of the physics lecturers that I managed to sort of land a sort of connection with a sort of postdoctoral researcher where I get to help him on some of his projects in a sort of casual way. But yeah, the sort of connection I have is very valuable since I get to talk to a very experienced academic while also being able to apply sort of the programming knowledge that I learned from like my first year and everything. So yeah, speaking to like lecturers can only be a good thing.
Great, excellent, thank you. We also have quite a lot of students that are obviously very interested on once it is all safe to do so, to arrive onto campus. And like I mentioned, we are working very closely with state and federal governments and all health authorities to make sure that it is safe to do so. However, once we can hopefully come back onto a physical campus, questions for both of you. In terms of accommodation, moving to Melbourne, did you live in your first year on campus or in student accommodation? How did you find that? Rianne, can you tell me a little bit more about that process?
No, I did not live on the campus. I lived in a student accommodation that was close to the campus. I searched it there are a lot of rental property websites online. I searched it through that. It's not that hard because I really know very few people who actually stayed on campus. So yeah, it's online.
Yeah. Okay. How about yourself, Ryan?
For me, I personally came here before I was 18, so I just had to stay at student accommodation. But yeah, the student accommodation I lived in was like a 50. Was it 15? Yeah, roughly like 10 or 15-minute walk to the uni. So not that far. And the people living there were all quite friendly, and there were quite a lot of social events that would happen like basically every week. Yeah. And I can say
what kind of social events?
Oh, there's like sometimes like there's a what's it called, like a sort of trip out, like a trip to the Melbourne Zoo or something like that. That will fairly frequently occur. Sometimes there's like it's a get together to watch a movie, or sometimes it's like a yoga class at the gym. Yeah, it's pretty social.
Okay, that's great. And what would you say is your favorite place to study on campus?
You can say it, Rian.
There's so many. It's hard to think. I can't pick one. I usually just keep on moving around. After like 1 or 1.5 hours of studying, I just can't study in one place, which is hard now. I think System Garden, that's one of my favorite, as well as the ERC library. Yeah, it's hard to pick, honestly. You can just sit anywhere.
Fantastic. And one final thought on the city of Melbourne. What sort of have been some great highlights of living here in Melbourne, and things that maybe you didn't expect before you arrived?
I guess I could say I didn't expect there to be sort of so I didn't expect it to be so easy to find my my local food. As in, there's quite a lot of restaurants, like a variety. There's like Indian restaurants. There's a lot of Chinese restaurants, Malaysian, Singaporean, Indonesian restaurants. It's super easy to find sort of your home food, even if you get homesick.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, just on that, one final question for you, Ryan, is and it's quite a big one. What advice could you give to our upcoming students as an international student? Any last bits of advice that you would give them?
It's just be adaptive, because the people here, they're very welcoming and friendly. So if you're scared, you might like lose out on opportunities. Just think about the privilege. This is a great opportunity to kind of explore yourself away from family. I know that there's huge on stake, but and it can get overwhelming at first, but it gets easier. So just go with it. Say yes to opportunities. Make friends. And just enjoy this uni life, because you get it once only. So that's it. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, this concludes our webinar for today. And obviously, I would like to give a huge thanks to both Ryan and to Ryan for answering these questions, as well as our team of staff who have been busy answering the Q&A. And of course, all of you, a big thank you for attending this session. A copy of this webinar will be sent to you, along with some additional information. So please check your inbox for that. We thank you hugely for attending, and we look forward to welcoming you very soon on our virtual campus.